Hey,
Hey.
today we're here with Joanna Kay from Simply Divine TV, and we're going to talk about her journey with PCOS. First, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So my name is Joanna K. Miles. The duh. um I was born and raised in Jamaica, not Jamaica Queens. Okay, Jamaica, the country.
Mm-hmm.
I was in education for a couple of years. I really enjoyed that journey. My favorite color is pink. And yeah, I'm in my soft girl era.
Oh, I love that for you.
I do too. Yeah. Okay.
So, when did you first notice that something was wrong, or that maybe you were different from other girls your age or something of that sort?
So let's start at the age of 9. Never had the birds or the bees or the period talk. So at the age of 9, I went to the bathroom. So
Mm-hmm.
just imagine a 9-year-old to the abyss, into the unknown. Went to the bathroom, I wiped and I saw blood. And I was like, I'm bleeding. And so I called my mom because I was concerned. Like, I thought I was going to bleed out. I would have needed surgery. Like, it was that extreme. My mom laughed. She's like, girl, you're dramatic. You just got your period. Right. Um, and so she still had concern because the age 9 is actually pretty early, y'all, to get your period at 9 years old.
Yeah.
And so at the age of 9, my mom was concerned. And so I was already, I would say going through like meal modification because I was also diagnosed with high cholesterol. So girl, I had a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mom was concerned, and so she took me to the doctor. Now, she didn't take me automatically, but there were specific signs to where my period was very heavy. So basically I would bleed through 2 pads in less than 2 hours, basically. And I would also have painful cramps. And so Mido back then is the now I don't know. Y'all tell me in the chat or in the comments what medication y'all take for y'all period. But Midol was it back then. Those who is my age, and I'm not gonna say my age, y'all know Midol was it.
Yeah.
And so I would used to pop Midos back to back, and so it stopped working for me. So I ended up rolling on the ground, crying, holding. Like I felt like someone was literally ripping my uterus to shreds. So my mom, who thought I was a bit dramatic, when she saw that I wasn't getting better, she took me to the doctor. And so he did normal check and was like, "Oh, should be okay. She has a regular period. However, like what I stated before, because I got my period early, the age of 9, he's like irregular period is very normal for girls who get it early. And so he told my mom with time, my period would eventually fix itself.
Mm.
Right.
So did he ever recommend like any medications to you or anything, or he just told you that you just need to wait it out and play the waiting game?
Right. So I think he gave my mom until, if I'm not mistaken, like the age of 12, to where um because back then my period, it was coming consistently, right? The only thing was the heavy bleeding and the really bad cramps. So there was no medication given because back then my period wasn't playing peekaboo until later on. So he told my mom like around the age of 12, 13ish, that, we're going to give her until that time. Now, at the age of 13, 14, things took a change. Whatever his plan was or what he thought would have fixed itself, it didn't.
So when you were 13, 14, period starts playing hide and seek.
Hmm.
Um, at what point did our mom say, let's go back to the doctor and figure out what's going on?
Yeah, so when my period would like disappear, um 7 days passed from the last period, and the 7 days turned into 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks turned into a month. And so my mom took me to the doctor. They did a scan, no, an ultrasound, and he was like, yeah, your daughter has irregular period, which was what we, did, like, that was something we knew.
Yeah.
And so he was like, but we can fix that with birth control. And so that's when I was introduced to birth control, was around that time. And so I started taking it, and it was going well until my body developed, you know, being accustomed to it. And then it just stopped working altogether, and I would get like migraines and stuff.
So do you think that at this point, did you stop taking the birth control, or what were your next steps after you felt like you had new symptoms developing? The birth control is no longer working for you. What were your next endeavors like moving forward?
So, um, like I said before, birth control started, but I would give myself a good year or two to where it was working. So I would say what, 13, 14. So at the age of 15 was where I would say definitely like it stopped working. I would develop migraine. Um, and so obviously the birth control was changed, right? And yeah, it was changed, and it would work for a little bit, and then it would went back to what it was, which is a migraine. It stopped working. And this cycle was revolving until I was an adult. And when I was living with my dad, which is like during college, at this point I had even changed my doctor because I'm like, probably it's the doctor.
Yeah.
So I changed my doctor, and my friend recommended me her OB, and you know obviously was diagnosed with the same thing, which is a regular period, because back then, guys, PCOS never had a name.
Yeah.
It was just known as a regular period. And so she put me back on birth control, and the migraine was so extensive to the point that I just took myself off of it. I just became my own doctor. It stops here. I'm gonna stop taking these birth control. Absolutely not. And so I literally walked around without a period for a good like 2 to 3 years, until I got married, moved to Texas with my husband. And yeah, that's where my other journey, which has been very successful, with PCOS.
Okay, so now being a married adult,
Right.
what what is, I guess, the story behind your diagnosis, and if you don't mind, the year that you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2019 with PCOS. I was working with one of the best, I love her down, one of the best OB in Dallas, Texas. Um, she was different. She listened to what I told her. When I advocated for myself, she respected my decision. She did the ultrasound and she told me right off the ribs, like, yeah, you have polyps blocking the front entrance of my uterus, and even if I wanted to conceive, I couldn't because there's nowhere for the sperm to penetrate. So I had to get a surgery done to basically where they go in and they take something hot and burn it off. And so the best doctor, hands down, y'all, never felt no pain. I don't know if because I was drugged, but I didn't feel no pain like even after the drugs wore off. And we had a plan pre and post surgery where it's okay, we're not going to automatically go back to birth control. And that journey with her was a long one. Yeah, because I've also went through the cycle with her where I've tried different birth control and yeah, none of them worked. Like, I developed migraine like stated before, and I became suicidal. And on another, it's not because I got any mental health issues now. It's just that specific birth control played mental, games. And at first I thought it was me. But when I looked it up and I did my own research, that's why, guys, when you have PCOS, it's good to do your own research. Um, and I saw that everyone else who was taking that specific birth control was experiencing the same symptoms or the same signs of, suicide.
So, while all of this is going on with your diagnosis, what does that look like in other aspects of your life?
So, for me, it was elevated insulin, having a low libido. So if anybody know what that is, um, having a low sex drive. Um, it also showed up as later on finding out all those migraines and stuff. It was hormone disruptor items that I was using as far as deodorants, body wash, perfume or body mist, even something as simple as laundry detergent,
Mm,
um, dish washing liquid. I stay far away from Dawn, because our family love
yeah.
Dawn. Yeah. And also I feel like I'm missing something. Yes, Listerine or mouthwash. I didn't know that spiked insulin. At least the one that I was taking, it was spiking my insulin, and I didn't know that.
What about like maybe in a spiritual aspect? Like, do you feel like your diagnosis with PCOS maybe reignited like your passion for God?
Absolutely. So during one of my visits for the doctor, it was myself alone that went to this appointment, and I've saw everyone in that room. I don't know if it was God way of talking to me, but everyone in that room was pregnant. And I was destroyed. Not because they were pregnant, but the possibility of if that will happen for me. the possibility of what that would look like. You know, my everyone, we like to talk about our childbearing years. And so that was like a kicker for me. And I think around this time, to be honest with you, this specific day was the day my doctor told me I had to get surgery. And she explained the reason why, and they were running different tests, and she was saying to me, what we're seeing is a 50-50% chance that it was benign or cancerous. And that was very hard for me to hear those words. Anyways, during that time, I was crying because it's hard. Like, the journey's not easy, y'all. It's rough, it's hard. And I just felt alone, and I felt sad. And I remember driving home, but I was talking to a friend, and I was like, friend, this is how I feel. This is what I'm going through. And so she was, giving me words of encouragement. But I was so like all over the place. I was like, friend, I just want to, talk to you later. Let's just talk later. And the moment I came off of the phone with her, I felt like a warm hug. Yeah. And that was peace. And I felt like God was like, you will be okay. Even with all that you are going through, I will carry you through. But he's saying this season, I want you to believe, but I want you to have faith in me that you do not need birth control. Not for me. When he said that to me, y'all, to be honest with you, I was destroyed because it's like if my period is off balance without and even on, like I felt like I had a more chance of having a period on the birth control rather than off.
Right.
But that is where my faith begins.
So, thank you for opening up and, sharing your story with us and your journey to your diagnosis with PCOS and,
Mhm.
how it all started for you. If you want to know more about her journey or maybe enrich your own journey, go follow her at Everything Simply Divine on Instagram.
Mhm.
Hit the subscribe button and make sure that you come back for our second episode, which I know you guys will love to see.
Yes.
You better be there. And I hope you enjoyed this first episode of our series.
Thank you guys for listening. Bye.